This video is sponsored by War Thunder. I'm on a journey to platinum every single Skylanders game. I've already done the first 4 Skylanders games, so in this video, we're doing... I didn't know what to expect with this game. I heard lots of mixed opinions on it, especially towards its vehicle mechanics, but I knew it potentially had one of the hardest nightmare difficulties and somewhat of a grind. But we'll see how all of this goes on my journey to earn Skylanders SuperChargers Platinum Trophy. As always, the game starts with Eon explaining the Skylands and Skylanders. Wait, no, wrong game. This game actually starts with Chaos wreaking havoc on the Skylands and explaining how annoying the Skylanders and us Portal Masters have been. He's taken control of the portals and captured all of our allies, including Eon. He then cuts me off and, yeah, game's over. Nah, Hugo and Flynn attempt to contact us, which is where things get started. There are too many Skylanders on the Portal of Power. No, there aren't. What are you talking about? There's literally nobody here. What a start! It thinks there are Skylanders on it.
Eventually.
It's working! The vehicle is opening a rift!
Hot streak.
Supercharged.
He supercharges the vehicle. Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay, so we're already just starting here. This is how it starts. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, this is a cool intro. After making it out of the vortex, we see Hugo, Flynn, and Callie, and Hugo explains that they're being held captive on a transport ship, so we head there and see their captor. After getting used to everything, I encounter my first enemies and earn my first trophy. Oh, perfect pair. Defeat an enemy while supercharged. Okay. My Skylander gets supercharged when I use their respective vehicle, allowing me to deal extra damage. I eventually rescue the trio, and we plan to rescue the other prisoners. A live wire lock is blocking the door though, which is the newest version of the lock puzzles. I have to move the imp to the ignition while also being able to grab sparks for extra XP, like in Swap Force. This is probably my favorite version of these puzzles, and I'll have to complete 14 more for a trophy later. We make it outside and see the chaos erupting, and Hugo opens his book to a message from Eon. He tells us that Chaos has released the darkness and used it to create the Sky Eater. And then he tells us about the new Supercharger Skylanders and their vehicles. After the message, we notice some civilians in danger, putting me in a vehicle section where I rescue them and fight some enemies. After taking them down, a toolbox spawns, containing my first vehicle mod and earning me a trophy. Ready to roll. Okay, that's for equipping my first mod. I continued through the area and eventually found another mod and earned another trophy. Oh, check out my ride. Equipped 3 different mods on one vehicle. I later got to try out the Sea and Sky vehicles, which are only used for optional objectives, but I collected my 4th vehicle mod during these, earning me yet another trophy. Mod Master, and I then flew to the end of the level. And jailbreak. I got 5 trophies in one mission. Let's go. We then see Chaos gloating about his machine, and Glumshanks, I don't get why this fool's still working for him, shows concern about the Sky Eater and the darkness. Chaos brushes it off though, but maybe Glumshanks is right for once. Our heroes make it to the Skylander Academy, which has definitely seen better days, and I take some time to meet the rest of our allies and explore this huge version of the Academy. I also get to see the vehicle upgrade station, where I can spend gear bits to upgrade my weapon and armor, and I'll later have to max these out for the trophy Grease Monkey. Going back to the story, the heroes are trying to figure out how to find Eon, when Hugo mentions a dragon at the Cloudscraper Mountains who can locate anyone in Skylands using a personal item from them. And the personal item Hugo has is...
The sock of Eon!
What? Why do you have a sock? How did you find that? So we head to the mountains to meet this dragon. However, Chaos has taken the place over and forced the civilians to serve him. Our goal is to ring a summoning gong to wake the dragon and save the civilians. After fighting some enemies and going through another vehicle section, we ring the gong and wake the dragon, and then it instantly gets chased down. Completing these vehicle sections earns me Portal Master XP, which is my overall level, and each rank gives me a buff. I'll have to get this all the way to rank 70 for the trophy Pair of Quarters, Pair of Dimes. Eventually, I got into one last land section where I got to drive on the dragon and reach his temple. I fight off a bunch of enemies to get keys to release the dragon and finish the level. Sock Sniffer. What kind of trophy name is that, bro? The trophy is likely referring to the dragon as it sniffs the sock and lets us know that Eon is trapped in the land of the undead. However, to reach this land, our vehicle's rift engine needs an output of 10 jillion thunderbolts, and it only has 3.2 jillion. To increase the power, we need the thunderous bolt of the Cloud Kingdom. Mags makes me do a test drive for some gear bits, but after doing that, we get permission from the Queen of the Cloud Kingdom to come over.
Well, that's mighty generous of you, Your Highness. Guess that means I should cancel that secret ninja commando raid on your city.
What's that now?
We'll be right there. Thanks so much.
We're not gonna ignore that though. Bro is trying to raid the city? Okay, bro. Like his mob would even do anything anyway. We all remember Trap Team. In the kingdom, we find out that Chaos paid them a visit, and Lord Stratosphere decided to join him to the dismay of everyone else. This one looks like Hal from Megamind, I can't unsee it. Anyway, I started making my way through, eventually completing the Sky Star, where I got to use my favorite air vehicle, the Jetstream. I later tried his corresponding Skylander, Jetvac, who got a pretty big overhaul in this game. This is a really cool gun, I'll say that. And you can suck the enemies. Oh, okay. It's like Magna Charge. It is quite literally like Magna Charge. I have another OP Skylander that can just throw things off the map. His fans ricochet between the enemies too. He's genuinely one of my favorite Skylanders now. Finally, we get into our first boss fight against Stratosphere. Before starting, I accidentally got this trophy. Oh, Horn Honker. Okay, it's L3 to honk the horn. This entire fight takes place in the car, and I just needed to shoot him and the ads while dodging bombs he throws. This fight was okay, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't prefer regular boss fights. But after his defeat, we got the Thunderous Bolt. You know, that name, the Thunderous Bolt, reminds me of something. Ah yeah, War Thunder, the sponsor of the video. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever and is available for free on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and even mobile devices. You can take command of 2,500 plus tanks, planes, and boats of 10 major nations, including planes and armor cars from the 1920s to the more advanced jets and battle tanks of today. You can easily lose yourself in the immersion of the game with the sophisticated damage models, allowing you to really make the perfect weapons against your adversaries, and its X-ray view allows you to see exactly where shells penetrate and which components were hit, whether it's you or the enemy. I highly recommend checking out each of the 3 different modes. You have Arcade, with faster paced gameplay and enhanced vehicles, Simulator, which removes all guardrails for a huge challenge, and Realistic, which perfectly balances the game's intense nature with a more authentic experience. Join over 95 million players for free on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and mobile, and if you're a PC or console player who is new or hasn't played in over 6 months, for a limited time you can click the link in the description or pinned comment to earn a massive bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, along with the exclusive Eagle of Valor decoration, 7 days of premium, 100,000 silver lions, and much more. Thank you War Thunder for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to the story. Using the Thunderous Bolt, Mags is able to supercharge our engine, and we can head to the land of the undead. Before that, I put down a legendary treasure I got in the level, and it was useless. Swap Force was able to give them a use, why can't the other games do the same? Anyway, I'll get a trophy after collecting 10 of them, so whatever. In the land of the undead, I meet this legend.
Special Agent 321 designation.
Oh, Softball. What's good? This dude defected against Chaos in Swap Force. Good to see he didn't get assassinated. He learned how to use these orientation gates and helps us in other ways. I make my way through all of the traps and vehicle sections and eventually reach Warden Moneybone, leading to another vehicle boss fight. I have to dodge Moneybone while he leaves trails of fire, and he later releases a shockwave that I dodge by moving to the other arenas. While I'm in another arena, the gates are locked and he shoots lasers and enemies are later added to the mix. I didn't really enjoy this fight. At this point, I wasn't sure if vehicle boss fights would work, but we'll see as things continue and when we eventually get to Nightmare difficulty. But in the end, I take Moneybone down and free Eon. Back where you belong. Back at the Sky Eater, Chaos is ripping into Moneybone when the darkness starts speaking to him. It promises that as long as Chaos keeps feeding it magic, they'll be able to take over Skylands and the rest of the universe. I was already predicting the betrayal, but I could be wrong. The heroes break Eon out of the Traptanium, and he lets them know about how Chaos has the darkness, but as long as the core of light is intact, they shouldn't have to worry. But in the meantime, this dude named Pandergast shows up. He's the head of the races in this game. Yes, this game has a whole kart racing mode. It's not like other kart racers, as you can use your normal weapons and abilities during races, you have a whole health bar, and other unique properties. I'll give more thoughts on these later, but after completing this one, I earned 2 trophies. Catch me if you can. Come in first place in any race level on any difficulty. Okay. And wanna race? Complete a race level. Going back to more important things, Eon says that there are books within the Spellpunk library that tell the history of the darkness and can tell us how to defeat it. Given that it belongs to the Spellpunks, we'd be screwed with all of the curses. But Sharpfin says that he can get a Spellpunk to help us as long as we defeat it at Battle Brawl Island, so that's where we head next. I had to get a potion to wake the lift operator, then he sent me up to the arena, and look who returns. Shell Shock? Again? We're here to take down Spellslamzer, but before we can do that, we have to climb the ladder. My first fight is against Brimstone and Boulders. These are a duo of golems, one attacking with shockwaves and the other with fire. At the end, I had to fight both of them at the same time, but I came out on top and got a ton of XP. Next up was Captain Bristlestash, which started with just a bunch of ads, then the fight actually started and was really easy. Finally, we fought Spellslamzer, who, might I add, looks sick. He shoots lasers and projectiles and summons Spellpunks, then does this. What just happened? He's cheating. What? This just leads to a new arena where things get a little tougher with worse Spellpunks and more projectiles, and then we come back. This final phase is basically the same as the last, just with even more Spellpunks, and eventually, we take him down. Get smoked. 2 levels, right there. Brawl to the wall. That was actually fun. That wasn't that bad. I like this boss fight. Surely I won't hate that on Nightmare difficulty. Spellslamzer honors the deal and says that what we're looking for is in the Hall of the Ancients, specifically in the Books of Light and Dark. They weren't kidding about the curses, as Flynn instantly gets sucked into a book that happens to be what we're looking for. We jump into the book and hear a narrator explaining the Ancients and how they created the Rift Engines and accidentally unleashed the darkness. So that's how the darkness came about. Oh! Okay, this is unique. I'll give him that. Throughout the book, I fight glass creatures and spellpunks, while the narrator continues to explain the lore, most importantly about something called the Dark Rift Engine, which released the darkness. There were other books to explore that chronicled other stories related to the darkness or were completely miscellaneous. These weren't necessary, but were still cool to experience. Flynn eventually finds one explaining how the Core of Light was built to fight the darkness. After going through another one talking about an evil Hydra, I reached Portal Master rank 10. Finally, Hugo's book talks about the final battle against the darkness, and have a pseudo boss fight against it, and eventually take it down. Knowledge is power. We found out in that book that there are undiscovered secrets about the core, and we decided to seek out the author, LaFuzzbottom, to hopefully learn how to complete the core. However, we see Tessa fall from the sky and have to tend to her. She can wait though, as I decided to place 5 of the legendary treasures I found to earn this trophy. I don't know how to pronounce that, but...
Feng Shui.
Tessa had come from evacuating Woodboro and wanted to help us. Before I could move on to the next level, Eon showed me more about Portal Mastery, most importantly these emblems. These are goals I complete throughout the game that increase in level as I reach certain milestones. I will have to get 12 of these to gold rank for the trophy Ooh Shiny. This is one of the grindiest trophies in the game, so we'll focus on this later. Hugo then lets us know that LaFuzzbottom is in the Gadfly Glades, which is a freaking weird place. We see this woman named the Collector yapping about her collection, which happens to include LaFuzzbottom, whom she's not willing to give up. But she sees the Skylander and proposes to let us have LaFuzzbottom if we can reach him before she does. Easy, right? No, because she shrinks us and we have to navigate through the area to reach him. I told you, this place is weird. The Twitter pillars let us know that we're the 235th challenger, which happens to be the number of Skylanders released before this game. We make our way through the glades while the Collector is constantly yapping, eventually reaching this section where she tries to squish me, and these guys deal tons of damage. But besides other weird enemies, not too much happened in this level, so I eventually made it to the last vehicle section, fought against the Collector and those big guys again, and finished the level. Yard work. That was one of the levels of all time. I think that's my least favorite so far. As we save LaFuzzbottom, Chaos is trying to find new fits, even though he already looks cool in this game, when the darkness berates him for letting us thwart his plans to consume Skylands. However, Glumshank says if the darkness eats Skylands, there's nothing to rule over, which is Chaos's whole deal. Before Chaos could question him too much, the darkness tells him how he could conquer other universes, destroy the core of light, and gives him this new fit. Glumshanks objects to it, but the darkness persuades Chaos to fire him for how much he's held him back. Back in the academy, LaFuzzbottom talks about how the core can be used to actually destroy the darkness, but we needed the Eye of the Ancients to finish it. As they're talking, Glumshanks drops in to tell us that he got fired. To prove he's on our side, he gives us a peace offering. The heck is that? Chaos punching bag places legendary. I wouldn't consider a legendary treasure a piece, but it's a chaos punching bag, so I'll take it. Anyway, we then talk to Eon, where we find out that the Eye is with a Titan. We obviously can't fight that, so we head to a chicken HQ to get the Colossal Colonel to fight the Titan. It's owned by an old enemy named Cluck, whom I didn't know anything about because he's from an adventure pack in Swap Force. I didn't play any of those. He does look like an angry bird though, so in that case, he is one of my old enemies. This place has a unique mechanic that allows me to grow and shrink things, including enemies. So throughout the level, I use this to complete puzzles and easily kill the enemies. Given that this is a chicken farm, it's no surprise that they're also using them like this.
Watch out for those chicken torpedoes. Are you kidding me?
All they do is abuse animals in this universe. Whether it's chicken or sheep, some animal is always getting abused. Always being used as a cannon or something. Later on, I get into this section where I have to push chickens into chutes, a precursor to the boss fight later, and Tessa wouldn't shut up about how to continue.
That gate won't open until...
Shut up, Tessa! Why did I just bounce? Right there, right there, right there. Good.
That gate won't open until...
Tessa, shut your mouth! Finally, I got to the boss fight, where I once again had to send chickens into the chutes to damage Cluck. Decent fight, and it was pretty easy. With the Colossal Colonel in our possession, Max pops it, and we're ready to take on the Titans. Before that, Hugo and Glumshanks show me the Wishing Well. Using wish stones I collected throughout the levels, I can get various collectibles, and I got my 10th legendary treasure from it. Oh, Archaeologist. Well, that's a legendary treasure. At the Monstrous Isles, I fight a few trolls off, then I get to use the Colossal Colonel.
We'll fly up ahead and keep...
Oh my gosh!
Let's go, Flynn.
Dang, bro! Doing 8,000 and 16,000 damage? 28,000? 40,000? My gosh! I really enjoy how many level-specific mechanics this game has. It helps to make each level unique. Eventually, I found the Beachcomber and used a sea vehicle to get the drop on her. However, she's one of these characters.
We literally need better security at this resort.
Shut up. Stereotypical entitled lady.
Never intrude on my me time.
Maybe shut up? Thankfully, I had to fight her, especially after this line.
Don't hate Skylander. I've got mad swag.
Oh, no, don't say that ever again. Don't say that ever again, it's over. After that, I had to destroy a few sandcastles, then made it to a fight against Thundertoe, who has the Eye of the Ancients. This is a traditional boss fight, and it's a little chaotic. He's not hard to take down, but his attacks can deal a lot of damage, and I could see him being a nuisance on Nightmare difficulty. But here, he wasn't too bad, and I got the eye. Vacation Getaway. Unfortunately, as we finish the core, Chaos shows up and destroys it. The heroes are about to get sucked into the Sky Eater, but Glumshanks risks his life to save them. What an absolute goat. But with the core destroyed, we were screwed and our engines were cooked too. I quickly fixed them up, but remember that dude Pandergast from earlier? He was using Glumshanks as the main prize for his event, so we had to deal with that. This is a whole demolition derby, so I'd be using my vehicle a lot. There isn't much to it. There are 3 arenas I had to go through, each containing a boss fight. The first one was against the Dread Roller, which just shot cannonballs at me. The second was Turbo Teeth, who constantly flew around and had turrets shooting at me. And finally was Wreckosaurus, which was meant to be intimidating, but wasn't. On medium difficulty, this level really wasn't anything special, but on Nightmare, oh my gosh. This is the worst fight in the game. This is the worst fight in the game. We'll get to that. In the meantime, here's the trophy. With that filler level out of the way, the heroes brainstorm ways to defeat the darkness, and Callie brings up the Dark Rift engine, since it's how the darkness even arrived, but its location has been unknown for years. But Glumshanks pulls through again and says that it's in the Vault of the Ancients. Before heading out, I checked my emblems and had so much to claim, allowing me to reach Portal Master rank 25. Ooh, quarter. On the way to the vault, I meet Pluck, the last of the watch wraiths. His kind were created to test people willing to enter the vault, including me, in the middle of this cataclysm.
Wouldn't that be embarrassing if Skylands perished while you were in the middle of a test?
Yeah, it would be. This level has another unique mechanic that allows me to pull objects and enemies toward me. I used this to complete puzzles, but I had to be careful since I could pull projectiles as well. A little later, I get the ability to push things away, and I can swap between the two abilities. On my journey, I was able to bring the rest of the watch wraiths back.
I am the last of us.
The who? You're the who? This isn't required, I just wanted to make that bad joke, but it was cool to help bring Pluck's species back. Now he's no longer... Overall, this is one of the better levels. I really like how they use the push and pull mechanics, even designing enemies around them. Eventually, I reached the Dark Rift engine, take down a few enemies, solve one last puzzle, and finish the level. Power of Attraction. You would think things would be good now, but nah. As Max was using the Dark Rift engine, some Sky Bandits caught wind of it, so I had to take care of them, but they took Max in the process. This leads to genuinely the most useless level in the game. I guess it's cool to hijack a train, but it was literally just completing random puzzles, killing enemies, and escaping side-scrolling sections. In the end, I had to fight Captain Blubberbeard and his goons, but overall, this level doesn't need to exist. Raiding the Raiders, the most nothing burger level of all time. On the Sky Eater, Chaos is fighting with his thoughts. He feels he should be happy that everything is going to plan, but at the same time, his destiny to rule Skylands won't exist if Skylands is gone, and he ponders canceling everything. However, the darkness is over his indecisiveness, and takes his Portal Master powers away until he presses the button. So he does it. He's really being manipulated. But as for us, it was time for the final battle. I used my Sky vehicle to destroy geode crystals to get inside, then dodge a bunch of traps, and destroy defenses. With Glumshank's help, I drove through the Eater and had to deal with rooms where I had to guess the correct pathway, but after I finished the section, I earned my final Land Star. Ooh, best driver in Skylands. After fighting through tons of enemies, we made it to the helm of the Eater, where I had to fight Emperor Chaos. This fight was pretty straightforward. I had to dodge the spikes he sent at me, avoid his sword and the shockwaves caused by it, and he'd clone himself, so I had to shoot the real one, which is easy when your projectiles bounce between them. After repeating all of this a few times, his sword breaks, so he uses his darkness-empowered hands to send more and bigger spikes, cause more shockwaves, and he'll slam the ground himself, leaving him very vulnerable. This was honestly the easiest Chaos fight. Surely there's a phase 2 or something. I guess not. The heroes try to use the Rift engine, but the darkness freezes them. He tries to get Chaos to destroy the engine, but... Oh! He did it! The darkness gets sucked into a rift, and that ends the story. You beat the darkness. Oh, there's a song to this too. Wow. That boss fight was way too easy. I thought I was gonna actually fight the darkness, not just Chaos in that easy fight. Okay, then yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
You didn't really think this was over, did you?
I didn't want it to be. Okay, I'll give it to him. That was a cool plot twist. For this final boss, I used my land vehicle to dodge pillars and pass through these rings that give me a speed boost, eventually allow me to ram into the darkness and deal damage. He later teleports me into a different area where I had to dodge crystals, some ads, and turrets while getting opportunities to ram into him. After this phase, the rest of the fight is just the original phase, just progressively getting tougher with more pillars, they spin around, and he adds turrets. However, miss too many boosts, and you have to redo that section. This fight is cool, but repetitive, and I'll have a lot more to say on Nightmare. But eventually, it was over. Oh, that's it! Light Giver! There goes the darkness. In the end, Chaos becomes our evil consultant or something, the heroes perform a boom together, Chaos takes over Eon's congratulations, and that's truly the end of the story. I really enjoyed the story, despite some weak levels and boss fights. Narratively, I think it could be the best one, but gameplay-wise, it was decent. With the story done though, there were quite a few things I needed to get done. I started by farming gear bits so I could max out a vehicle. I was flipping through a few levels to find a grind spot, and I eventually landed on the darkness, specifically the more open road, and as long as I was drifting and using boosts, I gained 3 times the gear bits, so after 2 runs of this, I was able to max out the shield striker. There we go, Grease Monkey. Following that, I got my second controller so I could earn the road trip trophy. All I had to do was enter a vehicle in co-op. There we go, road trip. Next, I wanted to complete the remaining lock puzzles for Livewire Locksmith. I went to the Spellpunk library as the puzzle was instantly accessible there, and I eventually got the trophy. Now it was time to head into the racing mode because for the trophy pole position, I had to win a race on each difficulty. I had already done medium, so that just left easy and hard, and I started with hard. Working on the emblems gave me some experience with the races, so I already knew what to do. I took all of the shortcuts and kept my speed up, so I was ahead for quite some time. However, I kept getting shot at on the 3rd lap, which led to this.
Golly, I'm pretty fast.
You're not even fast, you're just annoying. Dog. I really lost it at the end because of that stupid guy constantly attacking me. This is such a joke, bro. What is that? Yeah, I don't like that you keep your weapons for these. The second race was the same though. I drove perfectly fine, so let's see if I got screwed over at the end again. If I somehow lose this time, I don't get it, bro. I've literally barely even gotten hit either, so there's no way I lose this. Yeah, we're good. That was such a dumb loss. Obviously, now I just had easy left, and there was no way I'd fail that, so I was able to earn the trophy. Pole position. I'll come back to the races again for some emblems, but in the meantime, I wanted to go for the 3 trophies related to quests, starting with Driver's Ed. This requires me to complete a driver quest from Buzz. I thought this specifically needed to be one where you need a vehicle, as the trophy guide suggests, or even the entire quest line, as each supercharger gets 3 quests. But no, it just needed to be 1 quest from Buzz, so after killing 20 enemies with my guiding light, I reported back to him and got the trophy. Oh, Driver's Ed. Next up was Tessa's Traveler, which requires me to complete 10 quests for Tessa. Tessa's quests require me to return to old locations to defeat enemies. Pretty easy, but there's one problem. You only get 3 quests per day, so this would take a minimum of 4 days to complete. But thankfully, there's a workaround. All you have to do is push the time forward a day, and it counts as a reset. If only a certain trophy I know of would work the same way. But anyway, I made my way through all of these pretty easily, earning collectibles for each completion, and I eventually completed the 10th one. There we go, Tessa's Traveler. And because of all the collectibles I had been getting, I completed a stage of an emblem, taking me to rank 40. Quarter Nickel Dime. Finally, there's Hugo's Hero. Like Tessa, I have to complete 10 quests for Hugo. These are also daily quests, so I had to do a lot of time traveling. These quests are based on optional objectives, such as completing Sea and Sky Stars, Supercharger Gates, and Elemental Zones. What's great about these is that they take you to the closest checkpoint, so you don't have to do the entire level for a zone at the end. Though, one downside is that whenever he asks for an elemental gate, the quickest one is the one in the academy, and it's not always the correct element. So I had to do a lot of restarting to get it right, and better yet, if you don't even have a vehicle of that element, you're screwed. But after some time, I finally finished the last one. A traffic cone, okay? Hugo's Hero. Finally, before the rest of the emblems, I went to work on the Skystones trophies. If you don't know what Skystones is, each player has a set amount of health and a deck of Skystones to defend it. Each stone has its own health and damage values, and some also have extra abilities. This version also has a vehicle Skystone that is charged up by making moves. The player who goes second gets a free rock stone, and if a stone is placed in an empty slot, it'll deal damage to the main health. Once the opponent's health is at 0, you win. Unlike the other games, Skystones isn't required for the story. For the trophy, The Real Collector, I needed to collect 43 stones, which I can do in various ways. I was really close to 43 Skystones after all those quests and games I played earlier, so I just bought one from the store to finish it off. The Real Collector. Then for the trophy Skystone Savant, I needed to win 15 games. I won a few while going through optional areas, so I just had a few more to clean up here, which were easy and kinda boring, but I eventually won the 15th game. Alright, now let's focus on the 12 gold emblems. After the story, I only had 2 completed. There were some pretty easy ones I got while grinding the trophies, like defeating enemies, completing lock puzzles, collecting soul gems, and winning Skystones games, which was my 6th gold emblem. Oh, there we go. Gold standard. The next emblem I went for was completing each type of elemental gate. As I mentioned earlier, there's a gate in the academy, so I had easy access to these. However, you obviously need a vehicle for each element to do this. Good thing I use NFC cards instead of actual figures, otherwise this will be impossible without spending $1 million and waiting for everything to arrive. The only hard part was of course reloading so many times to get the element I needed, but in the end, I got it done. Next was an easy one, where I had to complete 9 missions in co-op. I just brought the other controller back and completed the last chapter of the first level since you can do that and it counts, and it's especially good since it ends on a vehicle section, so I don't have to worry about the other controller, so yeah, pretty easy. But this next one was gonna be annoying. I had the choice between the 3 emblems for earning all the stars in each type of vehicle race, and I went with the land emblem. First of all, these are impossible without these trophies, as they add 2 extra tracks for each type. Again, good thing I have NFC cards. Second, this is where I realized how much I dislike these races. I had to play on hard difficulty to get all 3 stars, which just makes the other drivers more annoying, and I already mentioned how I don't like that we have our weapons, but also, normally to take tight corners in games, you let go of the accelerator to have better control. Well, in this game, that instantly slows you down to a crawl, screwing you over. That's not even how real cars work. And the vehicle just generally feels slow. I really didn't like these. Fortunately, because of the lack of tracks, this didn't last long, but races alone didn't get me enough stars. There are a bunch of other modes to play, but I only played 2. The first was Boss Pursuit. This pits you against a boss, and you need to take them down before the race ends. I took down the first one, Chompy Mage, but the Dragon Hunter wasn't nearly as smooth, so I gave up on this mode and played Time Trials instead. This requires you to beat a lap under the required time, and you get 3 attempts to do so. Compared to Time Trials I've done in other games, these were really easy. I honestly could have started with these, and I was finally able to finish this emblem. As for the next one, I tried many different ones. The easiest emblems were all collectible related, and they required a lot of them. In the end, I settled on the hat emblem, as the shop always sold them, so I just used my old Skylanders with tons of money left over to buy all of them, and that was my 10th emblem. There were 2 emblems left, but one required nightmare difficulty, so I had to save that for the end. So for my second to last emblem, I chose to complete 20 online races. You're probably thinking, that's a stupid idea. It is, which is why it wasn't mine. One of my YouTube mods, Waspinator, was also going for this trophy and asked me if I was down to boost it, so of course, I agreed. This was boring though. We ended up playing the same races over and over with basically the same outcomes. He would win most of the time, or I'd win sometimes. Although at one point, someone randomly joined us. I don't know how bored you gotta be to hop on online SuperChargers races, but sure I guess. We eventually tried to spice it up a little bit with the sky races, but that barely helped. I mean, hey, it's better than grinding collectibles or raging at hard races, so can we really complain? But after a few sessions, we got it done, leaving me with just the Nightmare emblem. But before we go over Nightmare, I still had to reach Portal Master rank 70. After completing all the emblems, I only reached rank 49. I needed a good way to grind, so I went back to that lock puzzle in the Spellpunk library. Thankfully, the amount of XP required never increases, so as long as I got all 3 sparks, I could earn a level about every 2 runs. It still took over an hour, but it was definitely one of the easiest farms I found, so here are the remaining trophies. Pair of quarters and a nickel. Alright, that should be rank 70. That took like an hour and like something. Pair of quarters, pair of dimes, rank 70. And now, it's finally time for Nightmare difficulty. I could have done Nightmare from the very start, but that didn't sound very fun to me. Of course, this is the hardest difficulty, and since the trophy guide ranks this game a 7 out of 10, I was nervous about this one. I will say, I could have just finished the last chapter of each level for it to count, but I chose not to. I wanted to get the full experience. Having played Nightmare 3 times now, I was pretty used to the whole thing. Avoid all unnecessary encounters since you take way too much damage to be fighting everything, and I used my best Skylanders matched with their vehicle and element, especially High Volt because of his shield that absorbs all damage, and Hurricane Jetpack because just look at this footage. However, those vehicle sections are a different story. Not only does your vehicle take more damage, but once the shield is gone, your Skylander still takes insane damage! This became most apparent during the Money Bone fight. I already don't like this fight with the weird angles and small arenas, but making him much tankier and me squishier made things so much worse. Especially since at this point, I thought you lost the car when you died too. Keep this in mind. Gadfly Glades easily could have been annoying, but since the collector can squish her own guys, I didn't have to fight these overpowered fools, even though I did die one time. And for a while, things were really smooth. The only slightly scary moment was the fight against Thundertoe, since again, his attacks are chaotic and deal a lot of damage on this difficulty, but no deaths in the end. But the next level was the Demolition Derby. Remember how I alluded to this level being pretty bad here? The first section was okay. The chop hoppers were really annoying since they quickly latch onto the car and deal way too much damage, but the Dread Roller wasn't terrible, especially with the Gold Rusher's bombs. But Turbo Teeth was a whole different story. I spent more time running away from this idiot because I was so scared of taking damage from his rockets, getting run over, the turrets around the area, and the stupid chop hoppers. And remember, I thought you lost the car if you died. So with that thought process in mind, I kinda got a little angry. These enemies are so... Are you serious? Why did I take that much damage? What? I literally pressed triangle! Oh my... I was literally pressing triangle, bro! Oh my gosh. This is the worst fight in the game. This is the worst fight in the game. And I only have one more car, and it's this piece of trash. This thing's not good! And I already have no shield. Oh, what did I die to? What was that? I don't even know what to think. I actually failed the level because of how poorly it's designed. I only have 5 cars. The second run went better, at least during the first section, but Turbo Teeth was still absolute garbage. But after I died here, I had to try something. I didn't even get hit by anything. Can I use the car? Let me try something. Let me try something. Can I still use the car? You can still use the car. So, okay, that changes things. Yeah, I don't know why I never thought of this. I mean, the game even leaves the card there if you take the defeated Skylander off, so in hindsight, it was pretty obvious. But whatever, this changed things, so I was way more confident in dealing damage since I could waste my vast collection of Skylanders, and I finally beat this level. The next 2 levels were pretty chill, nothing to mention there, which brings us to the final level, where I fought Chaos. You would think that on Nightmare difficulty, especially compared to past Chaos fights, this would be really tough. And I'm here to say, you'd be so mistaken. He doesn't shoot more projectiles like Traptanium Chaos, his attacks don't deal that much damage, they're easy to dodge, and then look at this. Oh my gosh, look at that damage! Yeah, this fight is really disappointing in my opinion. As for the darkness, I just don't like this fight on Nightmare. Remember, you do the same thing for almost the entire fight, dodge pillars and ram into them. The road phase sucks though. Those extra enemies, their aim is crazy, the crystals are in the way, I honestly don't know how to dodge this stuff properly. But once you get past that, it just drags. Because of his higher health, you have to go through more repetitive phases, and remember, if you miss too many boosts, you have to redo it. It just becomes an endurance test, and I kept missing the boosts because I'm trying to avoid all of the turrets, which also made me crash into pillars, so I was over it after a while. And then look at these! Finally... I phased through him! What is that? What is happening? So you literally can't even go onto the left or right sides. I can't make this up, bro. But eventually, I finally finished this crap. Please please be it. Thank you, man. Thank you. Eon's Elite. Get that fight out of here. Before I show the final trophy, let me get some final thoughts. Overall, I think this game is good and a little overhated. The vehicles are unique and play well in most cases, the new Skylanders are fire, most of the levels are good, and the narrative is one of my new favorites, rivaling Giants and Trap Team. But obviously it has its problems. None of the vehicle boss fights are great, I didn't enjoy the races, and I do think it was a missed opportunity not to include the Sea and Sky vehicles in the starter pack. That way, they could be in the story and make the levels even better. And for the bosses, I would rather have the vehicles be used in between phases or something, while the Skylander is the main damage dealer. I'm gonna put this in the middle of my ranking. I definitely like it more than Spyros and Swap Force, but not Giants or Trap Team. But with that said, here's the platinum. Complete each level on expert. Ooh, shiny and supercharged. That is the platinum for Skylanders SuperChargers. Let's go. Did not enjoy that fight, but at least it's done. It took me 30 hours to get this platinum. Once again, thank you War Thunder for sponsoring the video. Remember, it's free on all platforms, and if you're a PC or console player who is new or hasn't played in over 6 months, for a limited time you can click the link in the pinned comment or description to get a bonus pack that includes the Eagle of Valor decoration, 7 days of premium, 100,000 silver lions, and more. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Of course, all we have left now is Imaginators, so drop a like and subscribe, and you'll be seeing that within the next few months. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.